But in the child, all the children are innocent in nature, and there is no necessity to correct them when they are innocent. Or when they get some intellectual process development, then only the problem comes. So we have to, then they do not know how to behave. We have to teach them how to behave. So as an adult person also, we cannot straight away come to this stage of abandoning everything psychologically. There are some preparatory stages. We have to work, we have to meditate, we have to do all the works to the level of necessity. Then only you have to abandon everything. Up to the level of some transitory period, you have to do all the things. Then only you can have some better understanding what is meditation and what is practices and what is experiences, what is the development of consciousness. Everything you may have some knowledge. Then only you can abandon everything. So in the preparatory stage you can do everything. And the child, with regarding to the child, we have to correct. We have to use our brain to, but in them we should not interfere their innocence. So the keeping their innocence is the reality. The innocence is that is the nature of our mind. So when after putting down all our problem, all our psychological problem, we once again become innocent child. So that is our natural state. We have to become a child once again. In the same way, we should not disturb the innocence of the child also. So without disturbing the innocent child, we have to give them intelligence. We have to develop their intellect process. We have to create some balance between the innocence and the intelligence. So we have to teach them like that.
Osho said that he grew up, Osho Rajneesh, he said that he grew up with his grandparents, and they did not, he was uncontrollable, they didn't try to shape him. So he was just doing whatever, like he grew up wildly with himself.
But you have to correct the way of his intellect, intellectual approach. Otherwise, his own intellect will affect the innocence.
Yes.
The innocence must be there and the intellect must be there. Then only the intellect will become intelligence. Otherwise, the intellect will develop some cunningness and other things.
Let's say that the cunningness is already developed. How do you correct it? How do you?
So because of the innocence and intelligence, we have to correct everything. Basically, we have to be innocent. Psychologically, we have to be innocent. And physically and externally, we have to use our intelligence. If the intelligence is the only weapon, thereby we have to correct everything. Thereby we can correct the cunningness itself.
Intellect and innocence.
The cunningness means there is no innocence. So you have to create some innocence. You have to put on the strength of the cunningness. And if you develop some innocence, that means the same cunningness become intelligence. If there is no intelligence minus innocence, it is cunningness. And if you add innocence to the cunningness, it will become intelligence. The deficiency of innocence is the cunningness.
But is there an approach to children, or just children, you cannot have really an approach with them? It is really about because you are the parent and you are the instructor, in a way, or the responsible for them. So in a way, the education will be really what you are, what you, like your own intelligence and innocence will in a way affect the child. So in a way, maybe there is no way that you can deal with them in that way or certain. It may be different, but it really may be, maybe the most important thing is to put on your own, it is your own process. If you, because the child in a way, he's very open, he just reacts.
You have to use our intellect, you have to use our brain,
Yeah.
you have to, we have to find out some way of approach to deal with the children.
Yeah.
For example, one person in the last occasion, one person from, I think he may be from Sweden, he asked a problem about his children, about his child. He's a boy. He used to beat the other boy very often. So how can I deal with the person? How can I how shall we to instruct the boy?
Yeah.
He asked me,
Yeah.
and we have some discussion. And for if anybody, in our case, if my son is behaving like that, and naturally, as a parent, what we say, you should not do like that. That is the natural approach that will show. That is the natural saying we'll use.
Yeah.
But when we say don't do like that, it is not good. If we say like that, and he will have some different opinion. So I am not beating the other person. I am beating him because he scolded me and I beaten him. So he will have some reason. So here what is the problem is, the first part is psychological part. The second part is only the physical part. In the first level, he got angry. Before he beating the other person, he got angry. And because the other person have scolded him, he got angry. So if anybody is in the position, there is a nature for him to get anger. So there is we cannot accuse to be angry. But at the same time, how to express the anger, how to execute the anger is in a different way. That is in our hand. But getting angry is not in our hand. It is a natural happening. If anybody misbehave with us, then it is a natural for us to get anger. So there is no difference between the child and the adult person. If anybody faces such kind of situation, he will naturally get anger. So there is no problem in the first part. The second part alone you have to correct. You have to have some civilized manner instead of beating other person. You may have some civilized manner. You have to express your anger. So then only we have to agree with the first part and disagree with the second part. Then in this way, if you proceed further, you can have some dealing with the children. The psychological part happens without our knowledge. It happens on its own. But the execution of our feeling is in our hand. That we have to be careful, we have to be wise enough, we have to be intelligent enough. That we have to think over, that we have to modify. But the first part we cannot touch. That is a natural thing. We cannot do anything. If you abandon, it will go on its own. We cannot touch it. The second part alone we can touch. Wherever we can touch, we can give modification, we can alteration, we can shape it, we can design it. The first part we cannot touch. The second part alone we can touch.
And probably the child needs to know that his anger is understood. When we suppress anger, kids get even more frustrated that their anger is not acknowledged and accepted, and they just need to be taught how to express it in a way that is not hurting anybody else.
But in the expression we have to correct.
Yeah.
When did you come?
I came a few weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
No, I came in December.
December?
December, yeah.
From December onwards you are here?
Yeah. And I've been doing a course on traditional Vedanta.
Oh, traditional Vedanta.
Yeah. When I was here last year and I read your books, I was I had some questions which I had some questions which I suppose which didn't get resolved, which led me to look for other things as well. And one of the things was, when you say you have to understand, so you have the information, the knowledge, and you understand these basic principles, and it was easy for me to get the sense that I understood, but I also suspected that I didn't really understand because nothing happened. And what I understood from what you said last time is that you need to understand, and then once you understand, you just wait, or you don't do anything. It's just the understanding is enough. But how do you know that you understand deeply enough or clearly enough? Because I can read and say, yeah, I understand that, or that seems clear to me. And I can read it again and say, yeah, it seems clear.
But the understanding is only superficial level.
Yeah.
The superficial, there is no deeper level. Only superficial understanding alone is the understanding.
Okay.
But at the same time, in the superficial level, there are many ideas. This is good. There are many sayings, many people. There is many approach. Then everything is crowded, and we have to find out. And so, even in the superficial level, we have to clear enough that this is correct. If you give consent, this is correct, and it will act. For example, you are writing an examination. You are studying in college. You are writing your examination. And you are expecting the result to be published in the newspaper, and you got the newspaper, and you see that your number has been published along with many numbers.
Yeah.
But you identify your number, and when you find your number is there, you become very happy. So if you are confused with the other numbers, if you cannot identify this is your number, then it will not work. So you have to be clear what you have to understand, what you feel it is correct. You have to confirm yourself. But matter is only intellectual. Your intellectual alone has to you do not see everything is in a legible manner. The number is in a legible, but you need not put any lens to enlarge the letters. Not necessary. You have to identify this is correct. So when you feel this is correct, that means psychologically nothing to attain. So psychological operates on its own. So if you expect out of this understanding, you expect something, waiting for the happening of something, thereby once again you are entering into the same level. We are entering into the same prison. For example, one person trying to escape from the prison and making a hole in the wall. So thinking that he will come away from out of the prison. But when he come away from the wall, he enters into the next cell of the same prison. What is the use of that? So when we understand that we have nothing to attain, that we neglect the total psychological structure. There is nothing to have weight. So we put down the total into the psychological structure. There is no scope for us. It happens naturally. Each and every moment, the psychological structures unreveals itself as thought and feeling. For moment, something must be there, something must go, something must come. That is the nature of our psychological structure. That is the nature of our experience. All experience comes and goes. We cannot retain anything forever, however try. It is the nature of our mind, the nature of our experience. Whatever comes must go. It is the nature. We have nothing. When we try to wait for anything to happen, then we are part of the thing. We are not away from the thing. We are part of the psychological structure. Now the person, the entity which is waiting for the happening is also part of the happening, part of the psychological structure. So everything, if you do not have anything to attain, then you put down the psychological subject consciousness. If you expect some result, thereby you project yourself as a subject and something as the object. Otherwise, there is no subject, there is no object. Even though you feel yourself some separate entity, there will be no hardness in that. There is no actual duality within yourself. Something is happening and something is going on. So the total flow is there. But here, for example, if you have some fear or sorrow in your mind, according to the circumstances where you are placed, it is a natural response to be free from sorrow and suffering. Thereby you should not take, I am against my mind, against my happenings. So whatever happens unconsciously, you are not responsible. You are not doing it consciously. But what we require, don't do it consciously. Let it happen. Whatever happens, let it happen unconsciously. We have no business. When we do it consciously, then only we are putting everything in the problem. So we have nothing to do, we have nothing to wait for. So we have no business, we are simply helpless to deal with our psychological problem. So we have to abandon everything, we have to abandon the total psychological happening. What we have option, what is the option we have? Only to use our mind to the external situation. But we should not use anything consciously to deal with our mind. If you try to deal with anything in your mind, let it do it unconsciously. Don't do it consciously.
So you say there's no place for using the conscious mind in evaluating things, making decisions.
For external use, you can do it.
Yeah.
But psychologically, if you evaluate anything, that is a basic problem. Thereby, if you evaluate something, then you have to demand. You have to demand this must be like that, this must not be like that. You have no business, you are simply empty-handed.
And how to distinguish between the psychological issues and the
whatever happens naturally, it is psychological. It is whatever you do consciously, that is yours. If psychological happenings or happens unconsciously, you are not doing it psychologically. The psychological things happens unconsciously. You are some thought may come, some feeling may come, everything comes unconsciously. You are not creating it. You are not inducing your thought, you are not inducing your feeling. Everything comes unconsciously. But whenever it comes to the conscious level, then only you recognize something. So when it comes to the conscious level, it disappears at the very moment. You have no business to correct it. Whatever comes goes away. It is just like a wave from the ocean. Some waves comes. There is no wave to stand as a wave alone. All waves must be put down and to become the sea, become the ocean. It is the nature of the ocean to rise and fall. Rise and fall is the nature of the wave. We are not creating. The wave has no business. We are part of the wave. If you are consciously trying to do something, that means you are trying to use your mind against your mind. You are using your wave against your wave. That is not necessary. If you want, you can use your wave to the expectation. Without our effort, we cannot do anything in the natural world. We have to have total use our mind to the situation. But we are helpless to do anything to psychologically. But if you do anything psychologically, you can take how many births you can take, there will be no salvation because it is beyond our control, beyond our reach. But whatever comes, it will go away very naturally. If you do not struggle within yourself, the total mind becomes the liberated mind. Only because of our struggling, we created this liberated mind into the struggling mind. The struggling mind is our artificial creation. The liberated mind is the natural state. We did not bring the liberated mind. Liberated mind is the very nature of our mind. It is our nature. Whatever comes will go. That is the rule of the nature. But in the meantime, we are struggling. I must catch hold of something, I must get something, I must push away something. So the pushing and pulling is the problem.
This is a psychological
Problem. But don't use our mind psychologically. If anything happens unconsciously, it is a natural impulse for us to free from sorrow and suffering. Don't struggle, don't feel guilty, I am struggling against myself. It happens unconsciously. Don't feel it, you are having unconscious struggle within yourself. Doesn't matter. But don't do it consciously. But, if you do it consciously, that alone is the problem. But whatever happens, let it happen. Don't do it consciously. If any struggle within yourself happens, let it happen unconsciously. Don't entertain struggle, don't entertain conscious struggle.
So if I want to do something, I want to perform an action, say...
But the external you have to use. You have to use your total mind. Whatever you have total use. You can make use of your total mind. However long you can work, however capable you can work, you can think.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh.
But a lot of times our practical decision, our decisions in our normal life comes from psychological reaction. You know, like, oh, I have fear of something, therefore I will not choose to do something that is I don't know, accentuating this feeling. So somehow those things merge together. You know?
That you can make use of your psychological reactions. For example, you are living in a house, some lunatic person enter into a house. At once you get either afraid of him or get angry upon this lunatic person. So if you do not have either of this feeling within you, you cannot deal with this lunatic person. So you must have some reaction within yourself to deal with the situation. So all reaction is good to deal with the situation. If you have anger, you can shout upon the person and you can drive him away from the house. Instead of anger, if you have fear, you cannot have the capacity to deal with him directly. So as you have fear, you can seek the help of other people to deal with the person. So both is in some way or other is helpful to deal with the situation. You can make use of your response, psychological response to deal with the situation. But don't do it against yourself. I should not have any anger, I should not have any fear, I must be calm without any waveless sea. That's the problem. So it happens naturally. You are not creating anger, you are not creating fear. It comes naturally. According to the nature of your mind, all reactions comes naturally. You need not worry about these reactions. What reactions comes just like a wave, it will settle just like a wave. You need not settle each and every wave. It will settle on its own. If you want, you can adopt. If it necessary, you can take in your hand to deal with the situation. If it is not necessary, you need not take in your hand. For example, the lunatic patient come into the house and go one room after another and at last get near the back door of your house and open the back door and go away from to the next street. And in spite of that, you may have some fear or some fear, anger in your mind. You need not use, because he himself has gone away from your house. there is no necessity to deal with you. But at the same time, you have no necessity to deal with your psychologically. I must be free from anger, I must be free from fear. It will go away instantaneously. Very soon it will fade away.
Sometimes there are a lot of reactions that we have that are not so natural, and they're coming from memories from the past, you know, like say a man has got a bad memory with women, and he judges all women in a certain way, and the projection is happening whenever there is a woman and there is a certain situation. His reaction, whether you know the outer person doesn't have to be a problem, but you create the problem in your mind because you have a memory, a bad memory that you carry with you. And therefore your reaction, the energy that comes up for you is not a natural thing. It comes from memories, it comes from associated psychological problems that you had in the past, which are not necessarily real even.
But we have to use our memory. Only because of the memory alone we can function in this world. We have to use our memory. But at the same time, the memory should not be a bondage. It should not be a burden. If you do not struggle with yourself, then your total mind becomes an innocent mind. Then thereby you have some adjustment of innocence and intelligence. Then there will be no cunningness. So the cunningness alone will create all the complications. If you have the innocence and intelligence, that's a good combination. And it will have a healthy atmosphere, it will have a healthy relationship. So only if you, without innocence, if you use your brain alone, and then it will function only as a cunningness to deal with the situation. That it will not it will not create a good atmosphere. It will destroy the atmosphere. So what is necessary, we have to understand, we have how to neglect the total psychological structure. If you are able to neglect the psychological structure, thereby you can have the innocence as the basic of your psychological structure. Then you can use your memory, but it will serve as an intelligence.
You cannot give this advice of whatever comes, let it come, and it is okay. Because if it's coming from a psychological problem, then it doesn't serve anybody. It's mind-made situation.
But anyhow, you can give least importance to the external problem. First of all, if you understand how to put down the psychological structure, you have to study first how to put down the psychological structure. If you understand this thing, then the external things is very easy to handle. So then you need not discuss each and every details of the external things. Externally, multiple problems may be there, but if you have the innocence, by putting down the total psychological structure, thereby you can have the intelligence and innocence, and thereby you can have the capacity to deal with the situation successfully. So we cannot be sure that each and every external situation are same. We cannot have a ready-made answer. Everything is a different dimension. So, but at the same time, if you have the intelligence and innocence, and you can very easily solve, however much the situation may be complicated. So you can totally deal with the problem. So the first thing, the main thing, you have to understand the psychological structure and disregard the total psychological structure. That alone is the essential thing. If you successfully done, everything is very useful, everything is very easy.
So you're saying that I read your book last year and came a few times. I'm just recalling you're basically saying that we should let our reactions run and be as intelligent and innocent as possible within that. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
All the reactions comes unconsciously, it is not wrong. So whatever you do consciously, that alone is wrong. Because everything comes within our mind, comes and goes naturally. For example, in a ocean, some waves are coming. No waves are standing as a wave. It comes and settles down. So that is the nature of our experience. Each and every moment we must have new experience, new feeling, new reaction. Moment by moment our reactions are different. And we need not catch hold of anything, we need not brush away anything. So it is naturally comes and goes.
Yeah, well it's just interesting what she's asking there, because you can be completely okay with everything that is inside you, including every distorted pattern.
You need not okay, you need not give okay, but that is we have no business. It's not waiting for you or giving you okay, but it is going on its own. We have no business. You have to feel we have no business there. Whenever you assume some responsibility to deal with them, then only the give consent or not it comes. But we have no business. You are part of that wave. You yourself has to go. You have nothing. Nobody has giving the right to set right the other plan. No part of the wave is. You are having no right to set right the other part of the wave. You are the part of the wave. But you assume some responsibility to correct the wave. You are part of the wave. We ourselves has to go along the wave. We ourselves has to be disappear. But when we having something as our right, something our responsibility, thereby we are assuming some continuity for ourselves.
So it's like we create a person who's responsible and trying to manipulate.
So we have no responsibility. We have to understand. So when we assume some responsibility, thereby we are creating a subject consciousness. Subject and object comes. Otherwise there is no subject, there is no object. Some happening, some total happening is there. The I am is a happening, the experience is a happening, the consciousness is a happening, all responses is a happening. Whatever happens, it disappears on its own. But when we want
including
to do
the habit to take responsibility.
How?
Including the mental habit to attempt to take responsibility.
So it is happening like that.
Yeah.
Let it happen unconsciously. But if you understand it is not useful, only because of our understanding we come to the idea that responsibility is harmful. So our understanding will help. If you naturally have some response, for example, if we have fear or sorrow, the natural response is to free from sorrow and suffering. If it is natural, it is okay. But don't do it consciously. If you have an idea, I must be free from sorrow, I must be a waveless sea, then if you do it intentionally and consciously, then it creates problem.